Well, we're going to hear from the manager now. Post-game comments for Ryan Wireless. Let's head inside and hear from the skipper, Buck Showalter.
Don't ask that a lot, huh? Who do they play next week?
Bengals.
Probably got an off week. Off week. His football coach is off week. How do you have an off week? No, I know they don't. The Bengals where?
Come right back.
In Cincinnati.
Oh, doubling up. Who'd you vote for? I'll never tell. Exactly. It should be if you. I know, exactly. What do we got? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I voted for Buck Showalter.
No, you didn't. Then that was a wasted vote.
Buck, you're talking kind of how it'd be nice to have a relaxing game where you got some people and would disqualify, was it kind of enjoyable just to sit back?
I wouldn't say relaxing, no. You don't ever, I think people miss that. Leads at the major league level with, guys hitting 8th and 9th, they're hitting 3rd and 4th in AAA. I mean, everybody's got home run and quick run potential, and, Jonesy gave us back a little breathing room, and his home run got some people out of the lineup because we'd kind of gotten their, the Batista-Wells part of the order back into play by struggling there a little bit with Pedro, but there's not a better situation to see him pitch, and but the end game looks that way. But you go back through the game, 1-0, 2-0, 3-0. Jake was a story tonight again. A lot of deep counts. They threw a lot of breaking balls, change-ups behind the count. That helped him out. I thought Andino had a good game at second base, filling in for Robbie.
One of the things you're more impressed about with Arrieta lately, I think he's like 2 walks, 13 strikeouts in his last 3 starts. And that ratio was bad.
And makes you wonder why, his pitch count's so high. But guys that, let's face it, ball comes out of a guy's hands, you're looking for something that appears as something that's attractive to swing at. Randy Johnson was never, believe me, I'm not going there with Jake, but he's not ever going to have a 90-pitch outing. You're looking, okay, I don't like the way that looks, don't like the way that looks, and you're going to have some deep counts, you're going to have some strikeouts. So very seldom are you going to see him go out there and have a 80, 90. The better your stuff, the deeper the counts usually are. Good luck. Don't anybody get hit with that thing. That one's been in the dugout for about a month. What else?
Buck, you guys won 4 straight series. I mean, I guess that's the objective, to win 1 series at a time. How do you look at it, and and is that significant?
I hadn't really dwelled on that at all. It's, you try to win a game, you move on, and it's important to put games behind you, good or bad. We've talked about it a lot. If you allow yourself to get on an emotional roller coaster at this level, you get into the snowball thing, where and you got to remember remind yourself why you're having some success individually or as a team, and remind yourself why you didn't, and then move on. Do something to correct it, and do something to maintain what you're doing.
Maybe the best thing about this whole run since you've been here is the starting pitching, but is there one specific thing that you see that you like about what this club is doing and the way they're playing?
I think a lot of it feeds off pitching. They always say that momentum's your pitcher the next day, and I think that's real true. But our pitchers have been attacking the strike zone a lot more. I look down on my sheet every night with the walk totals. I think Tillman got real fortunate in Detroit with the number of walks he had. But I think the aggressive, trusting your stuff, and there's a certain presentation that young pitchers have to other teams, and it can't be one of can't be iffy, because they sniff that and they run through that in a hurry. They're trying to smell, I don't want to say fear, but anxiety. You got to trust your stuff. Here it is. Don't go home. I told all these young pitchers, and don't go home at the end of the day and go, gosh, I wish I'd been a little more aggressive. Wish, because I didn't like the way it ended up being that way. Go out there and let the pellets fly, man. See what happens. But don't go home at the end of the day and scratch your head and say, there's an expression for it I can't use, but get after it. Here it is. Here's mine. Let's see what you got.
Buck, Josh tonight, 3 more strikeouts. At the end of the year, do you think you'll have seen enough of him to really have a sense of him and what he can do for you?
Well,
Yeah.
Yes, I do. For next year, potentially and beyond, you still see the glimpses and some signs of what he potentially could bring. I mean, you see on the surface a big, strong guy with a double-plus arm, switch hitter with pop, and he's got carrot in the game consistently. He's got to make himself somebody that I and his teammates trust. That's what it comes down to.
Have you ever managed a player that's like him in ability in terms of struggling at this point that you can say he reminds me of somebody that?
Yeah, I do, and I would never put that on him. You know, and it may not necessarily be good too. It could be bad, but you know, I try to look on the positive side. Don't get fooled by 23-year-old guys struggling a little bit with some off-speed pitches. You know, I'm glad he's ours.
How impressed are you how the young guys, Burgess and Mattis, Arrieta, seem to be getting stronger as the season goes on?
Y'all gonna make me say this again?
No, but I mean,
I just don't think they get.
But how
they're getting stronger? They're not getting weaker.
Just maintaining their outings are getting better.
Yeah, they're starting to feel a little bit, start to sniff it a little bit. You can see them kind of looking around and go, you know what, I might can do this. Now I also have been singed enough to know there's a fine line. You know, there's a fine line. So I challenge them to kind of write some things down they're feeling and seeing, and remind yourself, because at 23, 24, you're bulletproof. You don't think you don't know the realities of the major leagues, and so hopefully they'll go home in the off season and not only think about where they are right now, but where they were, and learn from both of them.
Buck, you mentioned. Oh, go ahead.
And come in and try to make the club next year.
You mentioned taking it one game, one series at a time, but with those 4 series wins, 3 of those are divisional opponents. I mean, you take anything extra out of that, or?
Not yet. We're just trying to win baseball games and keep a good, just a good feeling about competing out there every day. I haven't heard anybody talk about, X more days. I saw my first car packed last night leaving here. It was Izzy's wife driving back to Miami, I think I was told. So I think guys are looking forward to coming in and competing and, feeling good about what Mike could be.
Is this possibly Arrieta's last start?
Oh, ask me tomorrow. It's possibly my last one, possibly yours, He's at 176-ish now. 180-ish is probably the limit you take him. He's about 20 plus over. So that's a real quality question.
Buck, how did it feel?
But if he hears something about that, he'll hear it from me first.
How did it feel?
So ask me tomorrow.
How did it feel to have all those Buck Showalter T-shirts out there tonight?
I don't know how to answer that. I really don't. It's the first. Good chance it's the last. I don't know. I got a box of them. They dropped off, so I know they had plenty left over, like I said. And don't put it out there that everybody can know where to get one if they need to have a mop rag or something. I can't even say flattering. It's just something I want to be done with. I'm glad that's over, to be real honest with you, in a lot of ways. Especially if we would have lost tonight. Dadgum sure never seen it before.